Hello everyone, Tech1421 here. Welcome to another episode of Mega Moveset. Today we're going to be covering a Mega Pokemon that is pretty darn crazy and is not used very often, but it's very good, I think, and this set is a pretty good one. I don't see it too often, but I've been using it a lot, and it gets the job done. It tanks like crazy, and it dishes out a pretty good amount of damage. So it is pretty much a bruiser set. And we are talking about Mega Aggron. Aggron got a pretty cool Mega Evolution. Not only does he look, I think, a lot cooler than his original form, which I will show everyone that does not know Aggron, which I don't know who doesn't, but this is regular Aggron, that is Mega Aggron. So yeah, cool stuff. And so Mega Aggron looks really cool, I think, and he got the ability which is Filter. Now what Filter does is this Pokemon receives 3/4 damage from super effective attacks, which is pretty cool. So things like Flamethrower and things like Fire type moves and Fighting type moves only do 3/4 damage, as well as I think Earth is super effective against him as well. Could be mistaken on that, but just stuff like that so are not very effective on him, which is very good. So this is a bruiser set, like I said. Before I get into all that, I do want to kind of showcase the changes from Aggron to Mega Aggron. So the original Aggron, regular old Aggron, was Steel and Rock type. You can see Mega Aggron does no longer have that Rock type, which means things like Water type moves and Grass and stuff like that are no longer super effective against it, which is really good. Its original abilities were Sturdy, Rock Head, and Heavy Metal. A lot of people used to run like Sturdy or Rock Head and didn't really touch Heavy Metal too much, I don't think at least. But for this set, for the sake of what we're doing here, I think Heavy Metal is going to be a good choice. So I would go with Heavy Metal over the other three if you have a choice between them. And then when you Mega Evolve, obviously we go into Filter. But I think Heavy Metal is probably going to be the best one to go to, and I'll explain that later. But let's go on to the stats. You can see Speed, Special Defense. Actually, Special Defense did get a little bit of an increase as well. But Speed and Special Attack and HP stayed the same, which doesn't really matter too much. He's always been pretty slow, and this set doesn't really rely on him being too fast anyways. Special Defense grew by 20, which is pretty good. Makes him a little bit more bulky in the Special Defense realm. But Defense is the huge one. It got a 50 base buff, which is crazy, and then Attack got 30 buff, or boost. I shouldn't say buff, I should say boost. So it got boosted up by 50, and it got boosted up by 30 for Attack. HP stayed the same, as I said. So that's really good. Essentially, the defense, I've been running some calcs lately, and I just wanted to kind of see, what he can survive, and things like Darmanitan, like Banded Darmanitan, Adamant, Banded Darmanitan. You can actually survive and hit with this set, so you can just only survive one. You can't survive more than that, but it's pretty darn cool that you can actually survive a fire type move like that with that much power. So yeah, and things like Victini, also you can survive stuff like that. But this is a defensive tank. Things that are special attack, things like Flamethrower or Sphere or something like that, probably if the Pokemon has a lot of special attack, it might take out Mega Aggron. But things that are just regular old attack oriented, that are physical attacks, you can live any physical attack. So don't worry about that. The only thing is, if something's like Pure Power or has like a attack raise, like a ×2 attack raise or something, or like Stab or some kind of ability, you might have to be careful about that. But any just like base attack, you'll be able to survive with the HP and the defense the way it is. So now let's go ahead and get on to the EVs, because we're looking at that. I made him Impish. I don't know how to say that. Impish. Basically raise the defense. We don't need a special attack at all. You can even put it at 0. It doesn't matter what this is. And so yeah, that's what I did there. Yeah, don't need special attack for this set at all. But defense, max out the defense, and you're going to get a grand total of 614, which is the craziest thing I've ever seen as far as defense goes. I've never seen higher, but I could be wrong, but I've never seen higher as far as Pokemon goes. And then the HP makes them a little more tanky and goes with our moveset even more. So 344, and then I just stuck 4 in special defense. It doesn't really matter where you stick it. You can even put in attack. It might be good in attack. The extra 4 is not going to matter too much. So yeah, that's the EV spread. I really like this EV spread a lot, and you'll see it in the videos that you can take a lot of hits, and you can also dish out a good amount of damage with this moveset. So this is a Rest Sleep Talk set, as you can tell. What Rest does, for those of you who are unaware, you sleep for 2 turns, and your HP gets restored all the way to full, which is why we have the HP maxed out. And then all statuses are removed, but you are asleep. So if you're burned, or if you can't be poisoned, but if you're burned or paralyzed, it goes back to you're just asleep, so you don't have to worry about that. And then in between those 2 turns, that you are asleep, you can use Sleep Talk, and these are going to be our 2 attacking moves. I'll talk about Power Up Punch in a second, but you can actually switch that with a few different moves. And then Heavy Slam is your go-to attacking move once you get all set up and stuff. So that's that. And things that are some good strategies for Mega Aggron is when you know something's going to like go for a burn or go for a paralyze or some kind of status move, especially toxic, because it's not going to affect you at all. Just switch into Mega Aggron. You know, you can take it and you can rest up later, get rid of it, and you'll be fine. So that's that. Sleep Talk, I already talked about that. But these are your 2 go-to moves. So Heavy Slam is kind of a unique kind of move. It's more powerful the heavier the user than the target. And the reason why I chose to use the other ability with Aggron here, why I chose heavy metal, is this Pokemon's weight is doubled, so it's going to do more damage before you Mega Evolve. If you wanted to attack and use this to your advantage, it might not be too wise, because I definitely think it's very important to get into Mega Aggron and get all those stat raises and stuff as soon as you possibly can. But if you wanted to, that's there, and you're not going to have to really worry about getting dropped down all the way and getting 1 hit. So I wouldn't worry about whatever that is, that other ability. But yeah, so Heavy Slam's there, and basically what this means is if you're heavier, the heavier you are, the more damage it does, but it maxes out at 120, and then you get stabbed. But his attack is really good, so it's still hitting for a ginormous amount of damage. So yeah, it's a huge amount of damage. And then I chose Power Up Punch because this is kind of a unique kind of move. I haven't seen this too many times on Mega Aggron, but I think it's pretty good. If you while you're sleeping, while you're sleep talking, why not get an attack raise? And you're going to be tanking hits left and right, so it doesn't really matter what they do to you. And why not get an attack raise? Make this even more powerful, and it's going to go from 40 to 80 powers. So it's going to be doing a lot of damage. Other moves you can use. Another one that I definitely recommend trying out is Earthquake. If you don't like Power Up Punch, go with Earthquake. The only reason I decided not to go with Earthquake and I went for Power Up Punch is because there's lots of flying Pokemon out there, obviously, that aren't affected by this, and Pokemon with Levitate, etc. And if you're going to Sleep Talk, if they catch on to that after a while, they're just going to go into a flying type Pokemon while you're asleep, and you only have a 1 in 3 chance of getting the Heavy Slam, so the odds are in their favor for that. So that's why I recommend using 2 moves that have good coverage. If they switch into like a Ghost type, then Power Up Punch isn't going to hit, but Heavy Slam should kill them because their weight is pretty much nothing if they're a Ghost type. So a Heavy Slam should knock out for most situations. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You can experiment with like Low Kick and Ice Punch and other type of moves. I wouldn't recommend using like Outrage or something like that, but Return could be possibly pretty good. Another move at the very bottom down here somewhere, another Steel type move. Let's look for it if I can find it. Hopefully I can find it. Metal Burst, is that it? Yes, Metal Burst. What this basically does is if hit by an attack, returns 1.5 times damage, and then plus you have Stab, and it just works out pretty darn good. So your speed's pretty low to begin with, so if you use this, then it could dish out a good amount of damage. That's my reasoning behind that. But I like this set the way it is right here, and I think if you guys try this set out, it's definitely really good. It goes well with a lot of different teams. If you have a special wall like a Slowbro or something like that, and then or like a Goodra and Mega Aggron. If you have those 2 on your team, then you don't have to worry about any other tanks, and you just put like a status conditioner on your team, like someone that has like, you know, stealth rock and spikes and stuff like that. And then you just have 3 attackers, and that's like a really good team. That's a really scary team to deal with. So that's what I recommend, using like a Gudra or some other special wall, and then using Aggron as your defensive wall, and just go from there. It also hits for a good amount of damage, because look at that attack, 140. That's a really good, you know, base attack, and you're not going to invest in it too much, but it doesn't need to be invested, because Heavy Slam is hitting for a ton of damage already, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, you'll see some kind of ways to use this set in the video or the clips that are following this. I actually got a lot of clips with this set, so I hope you enjoy that. And if you see some other kind of moves, I was kind of testing some things out. If you like what you see, you can definitely change that, but try this out for yourself. It's really good. I really like it a lot. It's really underrated, I think, and you don't see it too often. You know, we always see the other kind of megas kind of take over, like the Lucarios and all those things, but I think he's really good, so try it out. And if you guys can leave this video a like, I definitely would really appreciate it. That would be fantastic. Let me know how you like the set, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Peace.